Welcome to this space that we call the Man Cave Experience. And just it's an important thing to realize or understand about this space that it's an experience, right? So it's what do we do as a result of this experience that we then take action in our life, move forward in a different direction, recognize maybe some areas that we need to pay more attention to or celebrate. I mean, we do a lot on this channel of really talking about topics that are sometimes challenging for us, challenging for men. Um, there are women that listen to this show and can learn a lot about themselves in their relationships with their spouses or boyfriends. But before we kind of dive into the topic today, I'm going to introduce my co-host, who's just an outstanding individual. I love just the fact that he shows up in the highest level and just is always just himself. And I think that's always good enough, right? Just acknowledge we're good enough as we are. So Cedric, you are an amazing guy and just showing up here. So yeah, just a quick check-in with you, how you're doing, what's going on in your neck of the woods, knowing you're in Texas.
Yeah, man. Overall, I'm good. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Just got a lot of work stuff going on, but overall, good, man. We're prepping for some cold weather here in Texas. It was 80 something as a high today, and I think it's like a 40 something high tomorrow. So yeah, we're doing that roller coaster thing, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
And if this is your first time listening in, if you don't know, I'm in Southern California, in Laverne, California, and Cedric's in Texas. So you can look back and listen to some previous episodes and learn more about kind of how this evolved into where we're at today. But a topic that's always been really kind of on my mind. It comes and goes as far as me being completely aware of it, but it's something that really is important, especially listening to the news now and breakout of a potential war. I mean, we never thought there'd be World War III, but who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen with this whole escalation in Europe? But out of that came this thought around just this inner peace, right? We look at the things outside of us and we sense and experience this turbulation, just all these external stimulus that we either see in the news or walk down the street or just experience in our life. And we take all those experiences in, right? This video camera in the middle of our head that we bring in all of this data, and then we place, some sort of information on that, whether it's something we believe or something we need to learn about or something that frightens us. Or so when we have that experience, all that experience that we experience outside, it's really up to us to decide how we're going to experience that part of us, the inside experience, this inner peace. That's we were born into this inner peace as a out of the womb into this world. Yeah, we may have cried out because we're here, we're present, but just knowing that is available to us. So I'm just said, I know we've had this discussion about just being curious and being aware and all these other topics around just how we experience ourselves. So just I'd love for just as I brought in this topic, what does inner peace look like for you? How well does the outside world match up with the inside world? And maybe something that you could bring to the listener's attention that might give them a tool to learn how to make it one, right? To flow out this inner peace that we can feel inside into the world and make these outside experiences not so damaging to us in our lives.
Yeah, man, good question. If I'm to be completely honest, which we are here in the Man Cave, it varies from day to day, and that's how most people experience it. Some days the outside world have a stronger effect on my inside and vice versa. And usually when it's the inside dictating the outside is usually when I'm feeling my best, because then I'm playing, and I'm 42 years old and I'm walking down the concrete, like a kid, like, oh man, life is good. So that's kind of how I experience a little bit. One of the ways I manage it though, really, is I use a lot of anchors, dude, like this shirt, because that I get to dictate who I am, what I am, and what I'm feeling, right? And really just trying to understand, and not trying, but just understanding that I am in control the whole time,
Right.
the whole time, and understanding that, and not really operating or trying to accomplish a goal or mission when I'm emotionally drunk.
Mm.
See?
And you're in those situations where you're in front of a group of people, you're an influencer, you're a motivational speaker, you're speaking to these individuals that may have all these thoughts running through their head. Their eyes are open, they're experiencing you. And I'm just curious, have you been able to connect with those energies within the people that you're speaking to? And if so, how does that feel to you? I mean, when you can really recognize that energy that's either displaced or it's in alignment with who they're trying to be or wanting to be, I'm just, we all evolve and meander through our lives in different phases. So I'm just curious for you, how, when you're up in front of these people, do you connect to that energy knowing that you're guiding them through an experience that you've either had or you're trying to bring out in them to really fulfill what they're trying to get out of listening to you? So I'm just curious on that.
Um, so I guess I go through the connection of the audience, like around that subject in the preparation, because it like, because when I'm in the moment, like I'm going through so many checklists and all of this stuff, because I'm stage presence and cues and all of this stuff. But probably when I'm in a Q&A or doing a workshop is when I feel it more. I was born an empath, so I pick up on energy, so it really, really hits me. Um, and that's when I have to go into practice, because I can feel it, and I don't want to sympathize with the person. I want to empathize, like say, hey, I understand it. And doing what I do is share a story or a similar experience to help them through it. But I do, hell yeah, I feel it. And you can pick it up sometimes too, when you work in the crowd and you looking out, hell yeah, you can tell if somebody's feeling it. You see the head down, or you see this number, or you can pick up on those body language cues, and heck yeah,
Mhm.
you can see it and feel it.
Well, and the obviously, like our emotions, inner peace comes and goes. There's very few people in the world that are able to, achieve that deep, deep inner peace that nothing phases them, right? And I think that's the exception. So for me, I find myself, and we've talked about this word, and I think I brought it up earlier, just noticing, right? And it's like, how can we notice what that feeling does for us? And then that conscious decision, it's like, I want more of that. It's like, instead of having these thoughts or feelings or energies that feel like, there's that, or here comes that person, or, to your point, it's our decision, right? So, you, the listener, might be looking in areas of your life where you feel that peacefulness may be fleeting, where it's not obtainable on a regular basis, and that's normal. So don't worry about that. But there's also the opportunity, I feel, through my experience, to slow the process down, right? As men, we oftentimes want to solve the puzzle, fix the situation, be done with it, versus, I think a tool that you, the listener, might utilize is just pausing in those moments and just experiencing that energy and just noticing, where does it take you? Where does it take your thoughts? Where does it take your body? So for you, Seth, just another question about being a father, right? Being, having this young child that's starting to develop his personality and expressing himself. Do you recognize maybe parts of you where that that inner peace is something that you can teach to him and show to him?
Oh, hell yeah, man. All the time. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all, it's real life. This
And
how
then,
it goes.
and then he walks in, right? Inner peace, right at it.
Because I'm trying to pay attention, y'all, but he done bust through the door, and I'm like, one, how did he get in?
Here comes outer peace.
Right? And, and I'm hearing you talking. I'm like, oh wow, this is a perfect opportunity for me to practice, because I'm like, I gravitate towards anger, right? And I'm like, okay, we can't get mad. He's 3. He doesn't know. He's just trying to play, right? So it's really things like that, because he's gonna have all the emotions, you know. And I hope the world has changed by the time he's older, to where it's normal for males to talk about it. But he's gonna be. I want to impart these things on him, especially like the hidden ones, like taking a breath, you know, noticing where it is in your body you feel something, right? So he can better navigate and have better friendships and relationships along the way. Yeah, because, and mainly, man, the biggest reason is because, hell, I don't want him to have to go through all the bull crap I went through, you know?
Well, and that experience that you're talking about is that relationship with the self, right? I mean, how do we become our own best friend? How do we become our own biggest advocate to where everything in our life becomes more peaceful? You know, our thoughts, they pop up. We decide it's not even a true thought, or I love that thought. I want more of that. And then that willingness to push that energy or move that energy, you know, in the right location to experience more of that.
Yeah, man, you was just talking, and that made me think. For y'all out there, and I think a big piece of it, or a big part of it, is really wordings, how you use your words. And what I mean by that is, like, first you have to decide what peace looks like for you.
Mhm.
Because I can describe my peaceful moment all day long. You know, for me, it's sitting outside. I could be in a hammock in the middle of the woods all day long. That's peaceful. For somebody else, they're like, no, I can't do the bugs and all of this. So really starting to, what does peace look like for me? Right? And start from there. And it's a beautiful thing, because you can have your wildest dreams. You really can, just
Mhm.
from changing the words. And with that, you can have peace on whatever level, just based on what you define, and then go and dig for it.
Yeah. And then there's discovery, right? It's having the conversations with others that may be experiencing that deeper level of it, or just sitting with the self, right? I mean, how, and we've talked about this, I know before, but through, you know, in our discussion on awareness, just the simple process of just closing your eyes. I mean, as we're sitting here talking right now, how quickly the inner experience is once the eyes are closed and you're not looking at, you know, all the stimulus that you're maybe not paying close attention to. But I could, you know, I could name, as I'm sitting here looking at you, all the different things that are in the background. You know, the bike, the heater, the doors, the window, the wall, all these things that are detractors from that experience. And how do we focus in a way that's not like a task but more of a decision, to say, you know, I can notice those things, but I can also, as to your point, go deeper into what might be that next experience of inner peace, because that inner peace may have come from, or what you remember could be chaos, right? I mean,
Right.
whatever is normal for you, right? So as you evolve, as you move and grow in your life, you know, what is that normal? Because we'll make whatever we need to make normal just to feel safe and secure. So it's that edgy part of pushing outside of that and realizing, maybe that's not the way I'm supposed to feel. Maybe I thought, because of my experience, that it's normal to always have this background noise in my mind and not pay attention to it, versus listening to it and understanding where where is it taking you.
Mm. Y'all, it's this is a hard show today for me, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of chaos going on.
Spark a joint and take a little hit, right?
Right? Lee, man. Oh, so difficult, so difficult.
Well, and I love the fact that when we show up here, we may have an idea of the surface level, discussion point, but oftentimes it leads to something else. And I think that's, the listeners that may be here with us now, or maybe listening on the replay, it's the willingness to, again, especially for men, women, I'm sure it happens to them as well, but just taking that step back. And I think it's the whole idea of just experiencing ourselves, right? Even as I sit here and I put words to my thoughts and I express it, I'm still hearing myself, right? And deciding either consciously or unconsciously, boy, that's a bunch of bullshit, or that's really true, or I don't practice that at all and I'm putting it out there. I mean, it's not in it. Hopefully it's not in judgment. It's more in what can I do differently to experience something different.
Yeah, man, I like how you put that. What can I do differently? Because man, that's crazy. I was on the call with a client earlier, and the statement came out because they were having some limiting beliefs around, and they were saying, man, I'm doing everything, right? I'm like, well, if that's what you're saying to yourself and you're stuck, what if we just asked ourselves, what more can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you're telling yourself you're doing everything and you can't find anything, the small reframe could just be, well, what more can I do?
Mm-hmm. Versus
saying, I don't know what worked with everything, right? And that could be the same thing when we relate this. I love how you put that, go deeper.
Well, that's a great point, because you may have, if you've got like 5 points that you need to touch upon to be successful in something, yeah, you may be doing everything you can within that constraint. But to your point, what about going deeper in one of those 5 areas that you're just touching the surface?
Right. Yeah. Right. It's a little off a little bit, but I see that happening a whole lot, man, with just people in life, in general. And they wonder, why is my life so chaotic or so boring or just stagnant, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because we've gotten caught up in, I'm gonna do it alone, I'm a fighter, right? And my life is okay because I have the house, mm-hmm. I have the car, the kids are okay, they're housed, they're fed. Everything is good when I look at the grand scheme of things. But then a lot of people are still not experiencing their desires, right? Because we can go through on autopilot, right? But it's a totally different thing when we're talking about the desires. And whoever's listening to this, you can have you are worthy of everything you desire. Right? But it's going to take curiosity to make that happen, and to get out of I say, we've heard it, every new level is a new devil, right? Or how I say, what got you here won't get you there. Mm-hmm. And we're so confident, man, well, I was this kind of person and this got me here. You're absolutely right. You had to fight your ass off. Right. But let me tell you something. It's a whole new ball game to get to the next level, right? And it's the same thing. So get curious, right? Because
that's just a great, kind of place to start. And for me, I'm 58, so I'm semi-retired. I've decided to start a business. I'm doing different things in my life. And at 58, I feel like I'm really the best version of myself right now, and there's still layers to come. But I guess my hope for you, the listener, is take action now, because there's going to come a turning point in your life where you reach that midlife crisis, or you start getting closer to retirement and you want to do something different. If you're not making those efforts and creating those habits and taking those actions, even if it's at a lower level now in your life, it's a very tough time to do that once you decide to cut the cord and leave a business, or retire, or do something that's taking you away from what your life has been for all these years. And I love to have those conversations with individuals that don't even think about those little tiny things they can do in their day to start creating that, whether it's meditation, mindfulness, or reflection, or journaling, or some of these things that don't take up your entire day, but start setting the foundation for what life will be like once you get to that point. Because you want to celebrate all of what you've done in your life to make your life what it was. But to Cedric's point, if you want something, as you get older, to really look forward to, it's not going to just happen. Retirement doesn't just, all of a sudden all these balloons pop out and you've got cake and you're happy and you're just going to sail into the sunset. I forget what I said. I think what did I say? Don't sail into the sunset, wake up to the sunrise. I mean, it's like, it's just how you look at it, right? So how do you look forward to the beginning of the day as a awakening for what life can look like in the future?
Yeah. That's dope, dude. Don't sail into the sunset.
T-shirt.
Right? Merch. What up, Scott Prismus joining us? Yo. What up? And I saw Joe Cleveland pop in there too. What up, Joe? Whoever else, man. We see y'all. What's up? Man,
but it's a process, right? I think
it is.
Where, as men, we like processes, right? We like to, line things up, and, A goes to B and B goes to C, and that equals, whatever it equals. But that same practice, that same identity, that same, methodology that you're going through can also create what might be possible for you in the future of your life. That next step, that hopefully that point of your life where you're like, and I've told you this, Cedric, it's like, I've arrived. I'm experiencing the results of all of my love and efforts and all these points in my life that I didn't know where I would end up. I hoped, I prayed, I had these aspirations of what life can look like at some point when I'm not in the middle of my career. I'm not in the middle of these aspects of my life that feel like I've got so long to go to even consider what am I going to do this morning, right? I'm kind of in that place now. I can decide, what am I going to do this morning?
Yeah.
Just sit around and eat cereal and watch the news. If that's what you're looking for, then you're probably going to, kind of die of a slow death and be unhappy. So. Sorry for the bad news.
Yeah, well, at least they'll be shaped like Boba. Oh man. Oh, this was been cool, man. It's been cool.
What is peace? Before we say our goodbyes, Cedric, if you were to give peace, your inner peace, a symbol? Because I think you talked earlier about anchors, right? And we don't often recognize points of our life that we can say, gosh, I'm experiencing that. And I know you've done that with other parts of your life with anger. So I'm just curious, is there like a tool or an anchor, a touch point that you can identify? And maybe this is something that I'm just planting the seed. Maybe that's something I'm offering to you, the audience, to consider something that would represent what peace looks like, inner peace looks like to you. And then that's, something you can identify externally, recognize if it's actually what you're feeling inside, and just let it serve as a reminder to you. So do you have any of those touch points, said that inner peace, what it looks like for you as a symbol?
As a symbol? Man, honestly, I haven't really assigned anything to it. And
Homework.
that's a good question. But while you were kind of explaining it out, two things popped in mind. The infinity symbol, because it's ongoing. And I just like the way it just looks so fluid,
Yeah.
and there's some chaotic parts
Yeah.
in it too. Um, or and man, I can't think of the name of the daggum thing. There's a name for it with the balls.
Mm.
It blick, blick, blick. If
Yep.
y'all watching this, somebody give me the name of that. It's like the pendulum thing. I can't.
Scott, pull it out, Scott.
But that, because the moments are fleeting.
Yeah.
In peace.
Right.
And it could be chaos cause motion, but that energy and motion, it still exchanges, but there's always that perfect moment of when you're just looking at it. Because there's a lot still going on as far as energy, the inside, but just looking at it, there's always that perfect contact moment, that one moment. So those would be my symbols.
I love that. I remember listening to and then even enhancing a meditation that I've done before on a lake meditation, just knowing how weather, wind, rain, lightning, thunder, all these things that can affect the upper layer of a lake.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go down deeper and deeper and deeper, and eventually there's peacefulness, right? So that's within us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do we access that, or how do we keep in our mindset that that's available? And sometimes we have to kind of go down slowly to get there. It doesn't just snap our fingers and we're in peace, but the things that we can let go of, the things that we can do differently, the things that we can do, new, that provide us that inner peace. So just think about a lake. For me, that's something that I connect with. But those that may be listening in, find your own anchor that works best for you. And love the fact that you're here. Love the fact that you took time in your day, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, just to show up for yourself, knowing that here's two guys from two different walks of life that just show up the best way they can and just engage in a conversation and trying to learn more about ourselves, maybe give you something that you could take away as an action item or a point that you can say, hey, I feel the same way. I want to do something different. Take the action. Sometimes it's the small actions that we take in our life that create that next big step that we want to take. So Seth, thanks for you for showing up in the highest level, as you always do. Glad to be back. This is our second show over after a hiatus, and lots of good things to come. I know we've behind the scenes working on some things that we want to continue to grow. You, the audience, and the experience and all that. So share what we're doing with somebody that might be of benefit to it. Women, men, some in your life that you maybe are making that decision for them. They're not going to want to watch that. Don't make that decision for them. Just share the link, share the idea, and just let them make that decision for themselves. So peace out. Love you, brother. And I'll leave it over to you for your goodbyes.
Man, you said everything. I would just tell everybody, man, like Ron said, just take action. Just thinking about it and hoping for it is not gonna make it happen. You have to do a little bit of work. 1, 2, good enough and done is better than perfect and pending. So just start. It doesn't matter what it looks like, just start. And with that rolls into the third thing, my closing point, is be kind to yourself. Be kind. If you want to do it 5 days and you miss a day, it's okay. Mm-hmm. Analyze, do the work again, and get back in the game and repeat that process. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to build that resilient muscle and a habit.
And recognize, right? that little piece of what you want more of and go, that's what they were talking about. I just noticed that, or I just saw that in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Those little sparks, right? It's like, that's what we need to pay attention to.
Yeah. And that would be my closing thoughts to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all joining us. Share it with a friend. Just hit them up. Just share it. Like it, comment. You don't even have to share it. Just tag them in it. They'll see it. We everywhere. We're on Facebook. What's the other one? The YouTube, LinkedIn. We audio. Y'all can catch us on Spotify, all the major ones. We're a week behind, so the audio, not a week behind, 2 days behind. So the audio will be posted Thursday on all major podcast audio channels. Yeah. So that's it.
Pull the cork.
All right, y'all. Until next time, we'll holler.